Hey, it's your old pal Lucid Stu again, and this is Stu's News, a review of American high-speed rail happenings over the past month. In this October 2025 episode, we'll take a look at what went down in September. Starting off with California high-speed rail and the biggest news of the month, California passed two bills that combined extend its cap and invest carbon tax through 2045 and guarantee that California high-speed rail gets at least $1 billion of that each year. This means the project will receive $15 billion or more additional dollars from the state in the coming years. To help fully understand the new situation for California high-speed rail, I made a 27-minute video about it. Go check it out. Here's the TLDR. Now there is enough money to build California high-speed rail from Bakersfield to a temporary terminus in the north that will meet up with existing passenger rail service. Trains should be running on an initial operating segment in California's Central Valley by 2033. That means the focus now is on getting service to Gilroy and ultimately San Francisco. The California High-Speed Rail Authority would like for that to be happening by 2038. Given the current funding situation, 2045 at the earliest seems more likely. And finally, Merced may be on the chopping block as part of the Central Valley initial operating segment. If so, that would be replaced by Madera 35 miles to the south, and Merced would be added back later. The state legislature would need to vote on that, so we'll see what happens. Overall, California high-speed rail operating in the Central Valley within a decade just went from dubious to probable reality. All of that can happen without the $4 billion in federal grants that the Trump administration is attempting to hold up, and that brings us to a federal government detour. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy,
who doesn't want to go to Las Vegas,
announced a notice of funding opportunity of $5 billion for the National Railroad Partnership Program. This is a rebranding of the Federal-State Partnership for Intercity Passenger Rail Program. This is not new funding. It is funding that the Trump administration has actually delayed for about 18 months, plus $2.4 billion rescinded from California High-Speed Rail, and $500 million somehow leached from the FSP Northeast Corridor pot. A few months ago, we talked about a legal agreement between the federal government and California to not reassign funds during litigation over the rescission of $4 billion in federal grants. That apparently only applies to the other $1.6 billion. Of course, California is planning to litigate the issue already.
This aggression will not stand, man.
The new National Railroad Partnership Program seems to shift priorities slightly towards safety and existing infrastructure on rights-of-way owned by freights and away from new high-speed rail rights-of-way. It also favors interstate projects over, quote, local projects, which is probably a dig at California high-speed rail, Texas Central, and Illinois. Of the high-speed rail projects in the Corridor ID program, this probably most favors Atlanta to Charlotte, which is still at the first stage of the Corridor ID program pipeline. The NOFO also goes out of its way to mention private operators. Well, there's only one. That means Brightline, so possibly more money to Florida for stations and grade separations. Speaking of Brightline, let's head to Florida and check that out. The reset on FSP national funds means that, among other things, the grant request for a potential Brightline Stewart station was nullified. Not a big deal, Martin County just needs to reapply under the new scheme that likely won't hand out funding until the middle of next year. Since Brightline is currently having some financial difficulties, new stations in Stewart and Cocoa are hinging on federal grants, which it seems they're more likely to get under the National Railroad Partnership Program. With that, let's look at the Brightline ridership report. Ridership up 21% in August year over year. That is an improvement from previous months. Notably, more of that jump was from short distance riders, which appears to be partially fueled by those rates being cut. That would seem detrimental to revenue, but revenue was still up 20% year over year thanks to a 26% increase in ancillary revenue. Brightline attributes that to a new baggage handling policy. Sometime before the year ends, Brightline expects to receive 10 more premium cars and optimize their schedule as they race to increase revenue fast enough to stave off looming debt issues. In other relevant news, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy
The clock doesn't work.
put out a press release regarding $42 million in safety grants for the Florida East Coast Railway corridor that Brightline operates in. These are nothing new. We talked about one 3 months ago. The primary grant is a raise grant from 2022 under the Biden administration, so it's basically the Trump administration taking credit for things they didn't really do. That's enough Florida, let's switch coasts and check in with Brightline West. Last month I reported on Brightline West construction occurring at their Las Vegas station site. I want to give you an additional resource for updates since I likely won't be out there more than once a month once construction on the right-of-way starts in earnest. This is Raiders 1967. They do construction updates in the Las Vegas area and published a video about the Brightline West Las Vegas station on September 15th. I reached out to them as we have no affiliation and haven't heard back yet, so I won't play the video, but here's the card and I'll also put the link in the description. The video shows concrete columns going up on the site. Along the same lines, John Usel graciously sent me this picture of a dust abatement permit sign at the future Sloan Vehicle Maintenance and Operations Facility. This is similar to one that was posted at the Las Vegas station site before they started construction. Brightline West has also been doing some utility work at the intersection of Interstate 15 and Sloan Road. That could mean that construction is set to start on the VMF facility soon. That is a key development because work on the VMF is a prelude to work in the Interstate 15 median, and that would mean construction is really underway. One more update resource for you, the Brightline West site. If you navigate to construction, then construction plan, and scroll down to Las Vegas station, you'll see some photo updates there, including forms for those concrete columns I was talking about. Presumably they'll do the same with other sections of the project as well. In other construction news, Brightline West put out an advisory for potholing pre-construction work at the Rancho Cucamonga station site, which could mean that station construction there isn't far off. Now let's head back east and stop in with our old friend, the Chicago Hub Network. The Illinois High-Speed Rail Commission had another meeting and we have the slides. The commission is starting to work on a feasibility study looking at 8 potential routes that they've whittled down from over 50 possibilities. As part of that, they've created an assumed service plan where trains would run hourly in each direction for most of the day, similar to what Brightline West is planning. That service planning is expected to be done early next year. The whole feasibility study would be finalized at the end of spring next year, but we might get to see benefit cost analyses on these various route alternatives before that. Okay, thank you Illinois, but let's continue on to Acela and the NEC. The internet and media was abuzz about the next-gen Acela 2 launch. While there has been some criticism, reaction to these trains finally being in service has been largely positive. I made a review about it, check it out. Let's move on to structures. Tunnelly Avenue in New Jersey at the approach to the new Hudson River tunnels is looking cleared out, with excavation toward the entry for tunnel boring machines progressing nicely. Tunneling under the hills of the Union City, New Jersey area is expected to start early next year. On the other side of the Hudson in Manhattan, crews were installing rebar for the eventual tunnel box that will receive the tunnels running under the Hudson. Progress is moving right along. Nearby in the Bronx, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority announced that the Leggett interlocking was commissioned in July. This interlocking allows trains to switch tracks, and according to MTA, this upgrade will allow them to work more quickly while utilizing continuous track outages. Leggett is the first of 5 interlockings on the project to be completed. The night crew got a pat on the back and a free breakfast from MTA to say thanks, which is always nice to see. Lucid Stu salutes the guys and gals hard at work in the trenches every day that help make sure we can get to where we need to go. A little further up the coast in Connecticut, bids were received for interim repairs to the Devon River Bridge over the Housatonic River between Stratford and Milford, Connecticut. The grant for this work indicates work was to start in July, so they're a little behind, but not too bad. Construction on repairs should wrap up in early 2028. Those are necessary to keep the 120-year-old bridge operating through 2036, when a $3 billion replacement bridge is supposed to be completed. Kind of a light news month after all the excitement last month, but let's look at some Amtrak numbers. Revenue for Amtrak on the NEC was down month over month, but operating earnings was up. As we discussed previously, summer is a minor ridership lull. Year-over-year revenue was slightly up, but earnings were down 20%. Keep in mind these reports run 2 months behind, and these results are for August. Not the best lead into the busy season, but we'll see if the excitement around the new Acela sets can counteract that in a couple of months. That'll do it for Acela and the NEC. Now it's time for Stu's Boo Boos, where I go over everything I missed or got wrong last month. Hey there, no boo boos. That keeps our gold star total for spotted boo boos at 24. I get another silver star for a boo boo free month, and that lifts me to 9. As always, if you see a boo boo in this presentation or something I missed, let me know in the comments. If it's a good one, you win a prize. A big thanks to the Stu Crew Discord channel for all of their help. If you'd like to join our motley crew, check out the invite in the description. Plenty more videos are on their way. Up next, we'll head to North Carolina. But that's all for now. Until next time, I'll see you on that big, beautiful freeway.